convert between a metric system and a customary system. In America, we use a customary system. That's miles, inches, pounds, ounces. In other countries, they use the metric system, like Canada, Mexico, England. They use meters, centimeter, kilometers, liters, and so on. So let's review what we learned in the previous lesson. For the tres leche cake recipe, Melody needs 7 pints. She has 3 1/4 quarts of milk. I wonder how many pints that is. So I need to figure out how many pints she has. Does she have enough milk? So explain your reasoning. So if I look at my reference chart about pints and quarts, it says there are 2 pints per quart. So I'm going to set up a proportion. So she has 3 1/4 quarts of milk. So how do you build up from 1 quart to 3 1/4 quarts? You multiply by 3 1/4. So let's multiply it. How do you write 2 as a fraction? 2 over 1. How do you write 3 1/4 as a fraction? 13 fourths. If you multiply this, you get 26 fourths, which or is simplified to 13 halves, or 6 1/2. So 3 1/4 quart is the same as saying 6 1/2 pints. So she needs 7 pints to make a recipe, but she only has 6 1/2 pints. Does she have enough milk? No. She is short by half a pint. So, let's go to our question. To maintain his fitness, I run 5K at Memorial Park. A 5K run is 5 kilometers. About how many miles is this run? Because you always hear this 5K marathon, 5K race. They do it with Aramco. They do it with all these marathon. They always have this shorter race for those who are not capable to run the whole thing. So, complete the unit ratio table. 1.61 kilometer is the same thing as 1 mile. So if I run 5 kilometers, so I need to build up. What do I multiply 1.61 by to get 5? How many groups of 1.61 go into 5? If I take a guess, maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times. 4 would be too much, I believe. You know what? I'm going to divide to find out. So how many groups of 1.61 go into 5? Oh, dividing decimals again. Let's move this decimal point 2 over. Let's move this one 2 over. So let's divide this now. How many groups of 161 go into 500? I think it goes in 3 times. Yes, it does. So 500 minus 483 will be 17. So I want to get rid of this remainder. So let me add in our 0. Let's bring it out. How many groups of 161 go into 170? 1 time. So you have 9 left. You know what? This will keep on going forever and ever. So we're just going to round right here to the 10th place. So I multiply by 3.1. 1 mile times 3.1 is 3.1 mile. So 5 kilometer is the same as saying 3.1 mile. You can also set up as a proportion if that's easier for you. We know in a proportion is about kilometers per mile. Kilometer per mile. There are 1 6,100 kilometer per mile. If someone runs, I run 5 kilometer, how many mile will there be? So what do I multiply? I need to build up from 1.61 to 5. So we already found it. You multiply it by 3.1. So they are 3.1 miles for every 5 kilometer. All right, this one we're going to continually keep using this chart to help us find our unit rate of pounds to grams, milliliters to pint, and so on. So let's do our next question. Dallison cooked a 5-pound roast for supper. What is the estimated mass in grams? So let's go back to is about pound and gram. Let's go back and see what it say about pounds and grams. Here it is. 1 pound is 453.6 grams. So, 1 pound, so there are 400, I cannot remember. There are 453 and 6/10 grams per pound. But I have a 5-pound roast. So do I need to build up or break it out? I need to build up by multiplying by 5. So what is 453 and 6/10 times 5? So I'm going to multiply as normally, and I'll come back and put the decimal in the tenths place. This is 30 carried to 3. This is a 15 plus 3 is 18 carried to 1. That's 26 carried to 2. 22680. We're in the tenths place. So there are 2,268 grams for every 5 pounds. Let me make sure I did my math here because something I rushed through. No, it's correct. So there's 2,260 grams for every 5 pounds. You can also set up a proportion, and it'll be the same thing. In the next example, I am going to set up as a proportion instead of a ratio table because I prefer proportion. It saves time, saves space, and I think it's quicker. Pharaoh made 5 gallons of lemonade for a family gathering. Good for him. About how many liters did he make? I do not know. Let's go back to our chart. Where does it say is about liters and gallons? Oh, here it is, right here. There are 3 and 79 liters per gallon. Let me hurry write it down. There are 3 and 79 liters per gallon. So I'm going to do proportion this time. So we have 5 gallons. Are you going to break it down or build it up? We're going to build it up to 5 gallons. So what is 3 and 79 liters times 5? I'm going to multiply as normally, and I'll come back and add the decimals to it. 9 times 5 is 45, carry to 4. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 4 is 39, carry to 3. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18. This is in the hundreds place. So there are 18 and 9,500 liters for every 5 gallons of lemonade. So setting up a portion really does help because you know what you need to build up by. I know some of you are very lazy. You say, I can do it on my head. But really, why would you want to do all this? Set it up so you know exactly what operation you're going to do. All right, next one. I'm going to do a proportion for this question because I really do prefer proportion. Latrice bought 2 1-pint containers of frozen yogurt. About how many milliliters did she buy? So it's pints and milliliters. Here it is. There are 473 and 1,800 milliliters for every pint. Oh gosh, will I remember that in the next screen? 473 and 1,800 milliliters. 473 and 18 milliliters for every 1 pint. However, she bought 2 pints. So are we breaking it down or are we building up? We are building up by 2. What is double 473 and 1,800? You know, I'm just going to add it up twice since that's doubling. 16 carried to 1. That's 3. That's 6. 14 carried to 1. 946 and 3,600 milliliter for every 2 pints. All right, let's see our next example. The elevator in a new building travels at a maximum distance of 32 meters. Determine how many yards is it. So meters and yards. Let's go back to our chart. What does it say about meters and yards? Meters and yards. Here it is. There are 9,100 meters per yard. So there are 9,100 meters per yard. However, it travels 32 meters. How many yards is it? So are we breaking it down or are we building up? We are building it up. So what do we need to multiply 9,100s by to get 32? Well, this is close to 1 whole. I would say like 33, 34 maybe. I really don't know. Let's see. How many 9,100s can build up, go into this? You know what? Since I can't do it in my head, I'm going to have to divide this and figure out. So, remember, where's the decimal point in 32? It's right here at the end. So we need to move this decimal 2 over. So we need to move this decimal 2 over to right here at the end. So how many 91s go into 3? None. How many 91s go into 32? None. How many groups of 91 go into 320? I have to say 3 times. And that is 273. If you subtract this, you will get 47. I bring down to 0. How many 91s go into 470? If I have to say 4 times or 5 times, you know I'm going to guess 5 times. So that'll be 9 times 5, 455. If I subtract this, it will be 15. I want to get rid of this remainder. I don't think you can. I think you're going to have to estimate this to the nearest tenths place. How many 91 go 150? 1 time. And you will have a remainder. And by the way, this will not, it will keep on repeat. So we're just going to say there are 30, so we're going to multiply by 35 and 1/10, multiply by 35 and 1/10. So 1 yard times 35 and 1/10 is 35 and 1/10 yards. So 32 meter is the same as saying 35 and 1/10 yards. So again, if you're like saying, what is he doing? We're trying to figure out, we're building up. What do we need to multiply 91 hundredths by to get 32? You will have to multiply it by 35 and 1/10. So we have to figure out how many groups of 91 hundredths go into 32. It goes in 35 and 1/10. Or if you wanted to estimate it more, it goes in about 35 times. And let's try our last example. Rico weighs 22 pounds in England. How many kilograms will he weigh? So it's about pounds and kilogram, pounds and kilogram, pounds and kilogram, pounds and kilogram. Here it is. 1 pound is, oh gosh, 4,536 10,000 place. So 0.4536, 0.4536, 0.4536, 0.4536 kilogram per pound. Per pound. So in England, Rico weighs 22 pounds. So are we building up or breaking down? We are building up. So what is 4,536 times 22? Let's see. 2 times 6 is 12, carry to 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 times 5 is 10, carry to 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Placeholder. Oh, since this is multiplying by 2, let's repeat everything we just did. So it adds up to 99792. But where's our decimal point? Let's see. It's 4 digits. It's in the 10,000 place. So it is 9 and 9. Whoops. Let me erase that. 9.9792 is 9 and 9,792 10,000 kilograms is the same as saying 22 pounds. Oh, so that's why it looked like people in other countries always weigh less than us. So kilogram is almost like half of 1 pound, if you notice that. Interesting. Sometimes you hear about astronauts in space. It's like, wow, they only weigh about 50 kilograms. So if you double it, it's like maybe 100 pounds. And so in this study, all we did was we converted. We used this table here to help us convert. So we wrote it as a unit rate. How many of kilograms per ton? How many centimeters per inch? How many liters per gallon? And that's like someone in my class, one boy said, are we just doing proportion? And then we just have to figure out how much we need to build up or break it down? Yes, we are. So this is how to convert between systems.